The word paradox seems to be very common in the message of non-duality. Paradox means a contradictory of information, or something that's maybe nonsensical, yet has a underlying sense of truthfulness to it. Well, that is true in non-duality. There appears to be two things going on simultaneously. There seems to be the infinite and the finite, the formless infinite and the form of the finite. And are we able to put our finger on what this paradox is? And I'm going to bring in a diagram that I've used in the past to demonstrate where this paradox lies. So down here we have self, and self is our infinite being. It is the one reality. It is what is known as ajata. It's unborn. It's ever existed. It's never come into existence. It never fluctuates. It never vibrates. It's this permanent essence of your being. And out of that, an I am arises into what we call an ego. All right, so ego consists of two pieces. It consists of this I am piece. Well, this I am is reality. It is what is true. It is sentient, meaning that it knows that it exists. Where the ego comes into play is when the ego adds adjuncts to I am through the mind and the body and the five senses. So through thoughts and ideas and images, through feelings, emotions, and sensations, and then through sight, smell, taste, hearing, and touch. These are what we would call our attributes. We could also add on to here our identities. So when I am, that which is sentient, adds that which is insentient, because none of these attributes are aware of themselves, therefore making them insentient. The ego ties the sentient to the insentient. This is what adds confusion, because the ego is, you could say, juggling reality with non-reality. And that's where the confusion lies. The ego it's non-existent. It just appears to tie these two together. And the ego could be known as the sense of I, or the sense of me, sense of person. And it is what always ties you back to the infinite through I am. So where does the paradox lie? Well, it lies in the I am, because depending on whose perspective you're looking upon this from, either the self or the ego, the I am is going to take on a different form, you could say. An I am that never becomes anything other than itself, such as a man or a bike rider, never comes into the manifestation. It never manifests. So an I am that never becomes anything other than itself is contained within the realm of the infinite. That's why when you're in self-inquiry, it seems like when you're resting back into yourself, there's still this sense of I am. There's almost like the word I am. It's internal. And an I am that never manifests is part of the infinite. But the moment I am becomes something other than itself, it comes into manifestation, you could say. So the paradox lies from ego, the I am is in the manifest, but from self, the I am is within your being. I've heard some sages say that the I am coming from self into the manifestation, I am is considered the last freedom. And from ego, when you're resting back into self, say in self-inquiry, the I am is your last bondage. Pretty interesting, huh? So that shows that this is the paradox. It's almost as the I am is like, this whole thing is like an hourglass, and the I am is the little slot, the conduit that 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 connects these two realms of the manifest and the unmanifest. So the paradox lies here, depending on which way you're looking at it from. And of course, the most paradoxical statement of this all is that once you come back from ego, once you lose your bondage and come back into total freedom, you will look back and realize that the ego never existed to begin with. The ultimate paradox, and that is the experience of what we call self-realization. When your self rests in and as itself and only knows itself as itself, it's when consciousness becomes aware of its own existence, when you yourself become conscious of your own existence. I hope this helped. Take care.